Prince Bandar, thank you, sir, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Chris.
You're great to come on. You were watching the program Friday night, and you wanted to take issue with something we reported. I believe it was from a Andrea Mitchell report that showed that in your country, the televised report of the videotape of Osama bin Laden bragging, in a sense, about his knowledge beforehand of the horrible destruction of September 11th was not really broadcast on your official Saudi Arabian television, but only the criticisms made of it. And then I saw in the paper this weekend that the Associated Press is reporting that your government has still not decided whether to show the tape of Osama bin Laden bragging about blowing up the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon. What do you make of that decision, and why does your government still not want to show that tape which incriminates Osama bin Laden?
Chris, I think if these reports are true, shame on Saudi Arabia. Truth is, on the day of the airing of the tape of bin Laden, it was shown in Saudi Arabia 3 times on the main news and twice afterward. 3 times.
Well, why did the official spokesman for Saudi Arabian television say over the weekend that they had no plans to air it?
Again, they are not plans to air it again, but they aired it 3 times when it first came out. That's number 1. Number 2, that late afternoon that day, we issued a statement that can't be more stronger. But more important than all of this, common sense tells us that bin Laden is not big news in Saudi Arabia as a terrorist. You know why? Because we knew he was a terrorist before the 11th of September. He was stripped from his nationality, his people were chased, his people were behind the attack that killed 5 American soldiers in Saudi Arabia 4 or 5 years ago. When we captured them, we tried them under Sharia law, we executed them. Guess what? Western media said we did something terrible. We're killing dissidents. You know, those dissidents, when we chased them in Saudi Arabia,
right,
the followers of Osama bin Laden, they don't run away to Cairo or Tehran or Damascus. They escaped to London, Paris, Frankfurt, America. On the 10th of September, most of those people were called dissidents. On the 12th, they were called terrorists.
Well, let me tell you why they're terrorists, because 15 people from your country blew up our World Trade Center and our Pentagon. If 15 Americans had gone to Saudi Arabia and blown up your iconic places like the World Trade Center and the equivalent of the pyramids or something like that over there, you would be wanting to know why those people did it, and you'd want our government to tell us why they did it. Has your government dug into who these 15 people are and why they did it to us, what they did to us on September 11th?
But, Chris, you just proved my point. You cannot take yes for an answer. I'm saying we called them terrorists before 11 September. You called them dissident. After the 11th of September, the same people became terrorists to you. You've switched their category from dissident to terrorist. For us, they are terrorists. When you say bin Laden in Saudi Arabia, people say, yes, that renegade, that bad guy. Therefore, bin Laden or the 15 people who were in the airplane, or people who follow them or support them, they are not just terrorists after what they did on the 11th of September. They are evil, Chris.
But if they're evil and they're dissidents in your country, why don't they blow up your country, their own country? Why do they come here and blow up ours?
They tried to do that in Saudi Arabia many times. Touch wood that they didn't succeed as big as they did in the United States, but they attacked people, they exploded bombs in Saudi Arabia. So we were after them. We were after them. And
what we don't understand is why bin Laden, who comes from a royal family, was like coming from the Rockefellers in this country. All right, it's a good comparison, isn't it?
It is a good comparison, but a renegade one.
But he's a renegade.
Yes.
But why doesn't this family go after him? Why doesn't the family? Why don't you freeze the assets of all the wealthy Saudis who are giving money to these types of organizations?
This is the tragedy, and you have to forgive me. The American media is either lazy or ignorant. This man, his family froze his assets. They disavowed of him. They disowned him. The government stripped him from his nationality. And I want to question the report you mentioned that if there was an election in Saudi Arabia between him and the king, he would have won. You know something? That is fancy talk. It's lovely.
Well, you don't have elections in your country, but that's one fact. I can never dispute this because it's a moot point. You don't have elections.
Exactly. But I can prove it to you another way. If bin Laden had such a great followers in Saudi Arabia, he wouldn't be hiding in Afghanistan. He would be in Saudi Arabia leading his people. Remember when Khomeini came?
How is it so easy for him to recruit young guys in their early 20s to go do his killing in this country if he's not popular? These guys went to their death just because he said, go to your death.
You make it sound like out of 12 million Saudis, 3 million were following him. You're talking about a handful. That's number one. Number two...
3 handfuls, 15.
Okay, 3 handfuls, thank you. Second, you're talking about... how do you explain this guy Walker? He's an American living in San Francisco. Why would he follow? I can't speak for crazy people. Nobody has monopoly over crazies. And Saudi people take offense when people say Islamic terrorists. Rabin was not killed. Prime Minister Rabin of Israel was not killed by an Islamic terrorist. He was a Jewish religious guy. IRA are not Muslims. They are terrorists. McVeigh, can you imagine after McVeigh's death, after McVeigh blew up those 200 Americans in Oklahoma, if I came and said, all blue eyes, blondes, who were veterans, are terrorists.
Well, you know what I say to you? As the nuns taught
that will include you, Chris.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
You're right.
In this case, let me ask you...
We are condemning what happened. You guys are refusing to accept us.
Let me tell you, as